Now, one of my favorite activities to do when I'm in a big group of people that I've just met is to ask them to write out a short descriptor of themselves on a name badge. That's what I want people to do, is I want them to introduce themselves. And the reason I do that is it helps them sort of tell their story. And what I think is important to understand is that for most of us, we've been grown up in a world where we are defined by others, not ourselves. We're defined by the school we went to, or the job we took, or the organizations we're a part of. We say those things because it's easy, it's shorthand, and in some ways it allows us to sort of borrow the credibility of the institutions that we're a part of. But today, more and more of us are able to create our own story, our own credibility. And that's one of the things that I think is interesting when I ask people to write their own name badge. What do the things you include on it? What are the important things that matter? And so I want everyone to be able to think about what they're most proud of. What are the things that they care about? And that's the important thing when we tell our story, is being able to work on things and have things that we are proud of. And maybe that's an organization that you put together, or maybe it's a group of people you do, or maybe it's something you've written or shared. What are the things that you're defined by that are yours, that have your name on it, that are important to you? If you learned listening to Ezra, one of the things important about sharing our stories and being able to share those things is not only sort of the results of it, but the journey along the way.
So I try to spend time on things that matter, that help people, that create value, whether it's tangible or not. I don't take anything for granted, and I think every day I try to think of, if this was my last week, if this was my last day, am I doing things that matter? And old me, when I was just a student and just working on getting that A or getting that paper in, would have said, like, what am I doing with my life? But now, I help women in politically terrible countries that struggle to support the woman financially.
It's important to be able to share our journey because that brings other people into it. As someone who's creating these sorts of things, it's not only about sort of just putting something out like, here's my podcast season, or here's my, the money I raised, or here's my book, but instead you want to bring people along so they become part of that story as a creator. And that's one of the reasons why when we tell our story, being able to tell it in connection with other people becomes even exponentially more powerful. The other thing that's important as we think about telling our own story is recognizing that our story may be different than we may have thought. It may not have the same story that we went. If you think about the story of Maddie, she had a plan all lined up. She had a plan lined up for herself, and then tragedy struck. She had a stroke, and she had to learn to walk again, to write again, to think again.
Initially, my memory was a problem. I wouldn't remember. Short-term memory was terrible. It's gotten a lot better. I'm good at remembering things now, and in therapy they're like, okay, like take notes in your like Google OneNote or whatever. Because you might not remember things.
Right.
But that's gotten a lot better.
And so for her, it forced her to rewrite that story. Maybe instead of having to think about the prestigious name of the company, she had to figure out what she was going to do because her life had become so much more important. So, as you think about what you might create, what you might write that becomes part of your story, I always ask people to ask themselves the following questions. What are you proud of? In fact, what are you so proud of that you would send to your hero? And that's why I love the story of Naomi. Naomi was someone who was sort of thinking about a lot of things. She was just sort of passing life in a normal way that a lot of young people do. But then she created something that she was so proud of, she felt like she could send it to the President of the United States, Barack Obama.
So I was like, okay, like this doesn't look super popular. It took me a while to find, so like it must not be like too crowded with stuff. So I decided to like copy and paste it, like go into the messages thing and like comment, and then I sent it. And a couple of days went on, didn't really think that anything would come out of it. Was expecting maybe like an automatic response of
thank you for sending this, right?
Right. And then lo and behold, I get a response.
No way.
And it's directed to me, and it's signed by President Obama, like no assistant, no anything. So I was going crazy.
Now, that's the kind of thing that I want all of us to do, is to have something that we're creating that we can send to someone else, to share to someone else, to involve in our life. Now, for Naomi, that meant that Obama wrote back to her. It sort of validated what she was doing. But for all of us, we have these things that we care about, we invest in. that we are proud enough of to put on our name tag. So as you think about your life, think about how you would write that biography. Write that biography in a way that would allow you to bring people along the journey. You don't have to be the author yet to be authoring something. You don't have to be the podcaster yet to be working on something, or you don't have to be the documentarian yet who's put it out yet before you can wind up learning along the way. So be open to the process, to sharing what you're creating before it's even finished. Be open to the fact that the story may change and it may force you to sort of ask yourself new things and develop new ways to find credibility. And most importantly, do something you're proud of. Do something you're excited about to share. Those are the times where we're doing things that we really care about. So here's my homework for you. I want you to write that new biography. I posted some instructions here below on how to do your creator bio. A bio that doesn't purely borrow from people, but it really focuses on three things. What are the things that you're most proud of? What are the things that you care about? And these certainly could be things that you've borrowed, but that's just one part of it. What are the things that you are proud of? We call this the parents bragging. So write a list of 3 to 4 things that you're most proud of. Number 2, poke fun at yourself a little bit. What are the things that make you human? What are the things that make people laugh about you? For me, it's the fact that my wife says the side of my bed is constantly messy. And in some ways, that's one of those things that I'm constantly being joked about. But maybe it's other things about how I've had a set of startup failures. Those are other things that humanize me and make me something that people want to connect with. And third, where are you headed in life? What's important to you? What matters? That's the third part of your bio. So as you think about creating your creator bio, I want you to write a bio that's only about 150 to 200 words, but offers those 3 takes on you. What are you most proud of? What are the things that you're proud of that you've done that define you? Number 2, what are the things that make you human? The things that are self-deprecating, the things that make you unique. And number 3, what does this all mean? Where are you going? What's your purpose? And what's the dent you want to make in life? That's the power of creating your own bio. So as you go out there and start to rewrite your bio and not only rely on borrowing credibility, but creating your own, rewrite your bio. Write it in a way that is able to sort of showcase what's unique about you, what you've created, what's human about you, and ultimately where all these things go. So that's the power of your own story, telling it in a way that shows not only where you've done things, but what you've done yourself. So write your bio. I'd love to check it out. There's more instructions below that you can detail below, but spend the time writing that bio and you'll find it'll be challenging at times, but that's the good part, is as you start to retell your story differently, you'll find that you can bring people along the journey, change it as you find where you want to go, and perhaps singly, most importantly, you can find a way to tell something that you're proud of. Good luck, and let me know what you do when you come up with your own creator bio.